Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. I'm going to get right into this interview with Becca Kufrin on Bachelor Happy Hour, interviewing Pieper James, the first kind of long-form interview Pieper's done since her disastrous stint on Bachelor In Paradise, the great unfollowing. As we know, there have been rumors that her and Brendan broke up. She even posted on her Instagram a singularity, which everyone thought she meant they broke up. And then she was going to do the playbook, possibly, where she says they broke up just to take the heat off them. We're not sure if that's the case, but she does say they are dating. They never did break up. And she makes that clear in this podcast. I'm going to play for you guys the first 12 minutes of the podcast. No edits, straight through, and then we'll talk about it, read some comments. It's fascinating. People are calling her out for lying throughout it. You guys can be the judge, all right? So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy Fall Season Dave, Light Jacket Dave happening right here. It's a mood. We'll get into it. So much to talk about right here, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about all of this. As we know, Pieper and Brendan were spotted in the Berkshire Mountains in Western Massachusetts, just a few days ago. So obviously they have been canoodling, and maybe it's time their relationship goes public. We'll get into all of that. And, of course, if you haven't heard, I've got a stand-up show this Friday, North Hollywood, Los Angeles. You can come to that. It's a free show. And also a brand new vlog just went up. New York City broke me. It's a vlog where I went to New York City with my fiance. We did Fashion Week. I did some stand-up comedy. And a quick clip from hanging out with Katie and Blake. I know the Bachelor crowd is going to enjoy that. Of course, it's just a quick one. We didn't take any videos. So you can go to Dave Neal Vlogs right there to go watch that. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so we'll get into it. I'll play for you the unedited first 12 minutes. I think Becca Kufrin does a great job. I think she's the most talented interviewer that is currently working in Bachelor Nation right now, for the Bachelor crowd. I think she does a great job. Rapid fire questions. Maybe she could have followed up better and cross-examined Pieper a little bit better. What we learn right away is that Becca and Pieper lived together in Paradise for 1 week. So that's a lot of time to live together. That's like 7 days together is enough to have some empathy for each other. She mentions that when she's in New York, she'll visit Pieper. So clearly there's a relationship happening there. So let's just pick it up right here. Again, first 12 minutes. Here we go.
So much went down from your time on Paradise. So just since then, how have you been doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not been easy. It's, I'm not, it was hard to watch it play back, and it was hard to kind of relive that. Obviously I was thankful to go to Paradise to, see Brendan, see all my friends and all of that. But obviously how it played out wasn't ideal in terms of how it looked and, everything like that. So I've just been dealing with that, kind of, working through that, but it's not been easy, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not been the easiest thing.
Did you watch each episode back? Because I know some people choose not to. So did you decide to, you're just going to bite the bullet? I probably shouldn't use that phrase at all, but were you just I'm going to do it and just, see how this all plays out? Did you choose to watch it?
I didn't watch it. All the episodes that I was on, I didn't watch while they were airing. I watched them kind of after the fact, because it was it was a lot to watch it and then also be getting the feedback online. And so I watched the episode live when Brendan and I went home, but then everything else I kind of watched in clips and not all at once, because it was a lot to get it from all angles.
Yeah. So we'll get into the details, obviously, of the show, and prior to that, what kind of led up to everything that we saw go down on our TV screens. But the number one burning question out there, I think that all of our viewers and the listeners want to know, is where do you and Brendan stand right now? Because we've seen articles and we've heard rumors that you may have split. So where are you two currently?
Yeah, I mean, that's just all they are, is rumors. I can understand, Brendan unfollowing me and that kind of thing, why people maybe came to the conclusion that we split, but we're still together. The reason we didn't choose to go public like everybody else on the show was just because, obviously our experience was a little bit different. We tainted our own experience in that way. So we are kind of working on ourselves and each other, and we're focusing on being a couple before taking that public, because obviously this isn't an easy thing to go through. And there's a lot of, flaws in seeing what played out. And, obviously I wasn't there the whole time. I didn't see it all. So seeing it all play out, but We're together. It was a rumor that we broke up. But yeah, that's where we stand right now.
Okay. Do you feel like in a weird way going through all of that and leaving in the way that you both did made your relationship stronger in any capacity? I mean, I can imagine it's been very difficult just dealing with the public backlash and the scrutiny and the opinions and comments, but do you think in any sort of way it made you both stronger as a couple?
I think it did. I think that there's, when you're first in a relationship with somebody, there's like this really happy period where you don't really have to deal with a lot of conflict and anything like that. And obviously because we were dealing with conflict, both, kind of between each other, but also like from outside perspectives, it did make us stronger in the way that like right away we knew how we communicated in arguments. Right away we knew how we dealt with like exterior bad things. I'm not saying it was like, peaches and rainbows the whole time, but it was good to kind of have that feedback and know, down the line if something comes up, how we both kind of deal with those things.
I want to take it back to not even the beginning of Paradise, but pre-Paradise, because there's been so much said out there of what you and Brendan were before stepping foot on that beach. Some people and even you and Brendan had said like, yeah, we had talked, we hung out, but it wasn't anything serious. So give us more behind the scenes actual intel of what, from your side of things, what you and Brendan were pre-Paradise.
Yeah. Before Paradise, Brendan and I, like, we were not in a relationship. We were not boyfriend, girlfriend. We had hung out, we had talked, but it wasn't something that was so serious or anything like that. I hadn't even made the decision to go to Paradise, like, fully by the time that he left for Paradise. And I think that that's kind of like, I was like trying to follow my heart to go see him in Paradise. And like, obviously I came in with a very honest intention. Like, I want to be with Brendan, but I also knew that me going to that beach could mean that he was in a relationship with someone else. It could mean that he was ready to get engaged at the end of it to somebody else. And all of those things in my mind, I still was like, I still want to go here and I want to see if this is an opportunity. But we weren't in a relationship. It was just a guy that I liked. And I fully knew that what the situation was going there. I fully knew that I could be walking into a number of things in terms of him being in a relationship, but it was kind of like a hope and a prayer when I walked in there that he would still, be open to exploring our relationship. But no, we were not in any type of relationship beforehand other than just talking to one another and hanging out a few times.
Before he left, because he obviously got there about a week before you did, like in having those conversations of, okay, like we're going to go and do this and see how it goes. And you say, like you didn't know what you were walking into. It could have been a number of situations. You could have been already with somebody. Was he very explicit to you of like, I'm going to go down here and keep my options open. And if I do date someone and you come down, like, did you either talk through like what that could look like, what that could mean for you if you did go down there and he was already like all in with somebody else?
We didn't talk about it. I think that there's like this misconception that we had this whole plan of like A, B, and C scenarios, and that wasn't the case. There was conversation about like, oh, if you're there and you're in a relationship, then like I'm going to respect that, because I think that at the end of the day, I would never want to have to like convince somebody to be with me, to like tell them that you want to be with me. Like, I wanted it to be a choice, and I wanted to like, I guess, present myself as an option when I got down to the beach, but there wasn't, this grand conversation about like, if you're talking to somebody, then I'm just going to do this. Like, it was more of me just going down there and being like, obviously very intentional. And I came down with a date card, like asking him, but, saying like, if you were still available, I would like that option. But, that's kind of all it was. It wasn't any deeper than that.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that we saw, we saw it several different times. First, I think it was between Brendan and Natasha and some other people asking him how many times you two had hung out before Paradise. And then it was also a conversation between you and Natasha when you got down there and she asked you, what did your relationship with Brendan look like before stepping foot on the beach? The answers were vastly different. I think he had downplayed the amount of times you hung out and how you spent your time together versus what you said. And so what was it? Because he said you guys hung out maybe a couple times. You said around 10 times. He made it seem like it was much more casual. What exactly was it? Like, I'm such a details person. I'm like, I need numbers. I need like the good details. So like, help us all out with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. We hung out I think I told her 8 to 10 times. I think that was the case. I mean, Brendan is correct. We went to dinner one-on-one, hung out one-on-one 3 or 4 times, but obviously we all, him coming to the city, we all hang out with the same people. So yeah, we hung out in group settings or otherwise 8 to 10 times, went on a date, if you could even call it that, 3 to 4 times. But that's what it was. It wasn't, I mean, I don't think he was necessarily lying in that sense where he was saying like that time, I think, but I do think there was a bit of downplaying in that.
Yeah. Well, as he said once, he just withheld information as you two were leaving. So, because obviously, the stories didn't match up. It was a little bit different. So you then finally, when you were able to watch it all back, because it's one thing when you're living there and like having conversations, and of course, like tensions are high, people are heated. There's so much going on that actual beach. So when you actually watched some of it back and kind of saw what he was saying to Natasha, oh, we only hung out a couple times. What did that feel like for you? Because I feel like if that was my partner, I would be pissed. I would definitely have words with them outside of this on my own and be like, what the hell? Like, you totally downplayed what we had, or like how much we hung out. What did that conversation between you two look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got kind of like clips of it at our first date at our dinner when I was like, I thought we were one place. You were saying another thing. I'm hearing other things. But off camera, when we get back home, it kind of made me start to question like a lot of the things that I thought, beforehand. Like, and it wasn't so much accusatory. I just really wanted to know, like, okay, I thought this, but where were you at this point in time? Because I was going there for Brendan. I was like trying to be like, okay, I really like this guy. Let me see what happened. Like, what's going to happen? But yeah, I mean, it did make me question. Sanity is not the right word, but it did make me question, like, beforehand, like, was I reading into a situation where he didn't actually like me this much? Was I perceiving it one way? So we did have a lot of those conversations, like walking through, before and during, like, what did that mean to you? Or did I misconstrue it? Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there was one thing too, and I had talked about this on the podcast, weeks ago. It was something that I had said, and I would never want to say anything behind your back without being able to say it to your face too. But there was one point where I had brought up the situation where Brendan had been talking to Natasha, and he said something along the lines of, the connection that I have with you, Natasha, is so much stronger than the connection I had with Pieper, which now knowing in hindsight, you two went through all of that, then together on the beach, left. Now you're still together. What was it like hearing that? And now seeing how he had the turn and came back. I wouldn't say back to you if you guys didn't have a plan or a relationship in place, but then left her to be with you, and now you guys are still together. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, that was hurtful. Obviously, for me, it was like, okay, but then it's hurtful to see that lie. Like, let's just call it a lie. Like, it's hurtful to see that lie if, he really had these strong feelings for me to say to somebody else to gain any type of anything. Like, that's not fair to Natasha. I've reiterated so many times, like, while on the beach, like, I have nothing but the utmost respect for her. So it's not fair that was her experience. It's not fair that he said those things, and I don't condone those actions, but it also was hurtful to me to be like, makes me then think like, oh my gosh, am I just like this crazy girl, with the biggest air quotes, who I'm like, I like him, but he's telling this other girl that. Like, it kind of sets you through a bit of a tailspin. But obviously in that situation, I sympathize the most with Natasha, because nobody deserves to be treated like that. Nobody deserves to like think they're building this strong connection just to have that, flipped the next day, the next week, whatever it may be.
Well, how has he explained that?
Not great. It's kind of like, I haven't really got a straight answer on that, and I would love to know. I think that's kind of part of the reason we're keeping our relationship pretty like on the down low, because I do still have questions about the experience. I do still have questions about those things that happened before I got there. And like those episodes I watched like clips of, but it's hard to see the person that you like date somebody else and like say these things when you have this perception of what it was beforehand. Like, I knew that we weren't in a relationship. I knew that, I liked him. I was hoping he liked me back, but then saying things like that connection's stronger and then flip the script. it really makes you question a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a woman and as a friend, I would just warn you to err on the side of caution in regards if you're not getting straight, direct answers in big situations like this, that you need to just tread lightly, because it was, and I was never privy to their conversations between him and Natasha on the beach. That was something private between them. I obviously am friends with her, so I would get her side of things. And then it's one thing to watch it back as a viewer. And I just had questions of like, if I was in Pieper's shoes, how would that make me feel? Like I would, that wouldn't sit well with me. So obviously you mentioned Natasha, and there's been a lot said between, you knowing her pre-Paradise, you guys having...
All right, so I'm going to cut it off there. You guys can go listen to the full thing. It's on audio versions only on podcasts everywhere. You can go find Bachelor Happy Hour. And then the video, I'm sure, will be up tomorrow, and we'll replay any clips we didn't get to. So let's go to some of your comments. Becca warns Pieper to tread lightly. Some fascinating stuff. Brendan says Natasha's connection was better than his with Pieper. We knew that. We watched that. What's interesting is we talk about the tone. We've got a unscripted reality show that is edited that we watch, and then we have Pieper's, true beliefs about it all. And yet we still, rather than, let me know if you agree or disagree, but rather than taking Pieper for her word, it still feels like she's completely rewriting everything that went down. Someone said the amount of lies in this podcast. We are together, but did not want to make it public. Pieper, baby, do you realize Bachelor Happy Hour is a podcast that people listen to, right? She lied about how many times they hung with sentences of within sentences of each statement. First, she says they hung out 8 to 10 times, but then she says 8 to 10 times in a group setting. Well, I'm not worried too much about those semantics. The fact she said she felt like she needed to go on Paradise to present herself as an option to Brendan. Girl, I think Becca was trying to point out all of Brendan's red flags, but Pieper basically kept saying we're working through it. And also it's appalling that Pieper hasn't apologized to Natasha in person. It's been so long. This gives me huge vibes that BM, Brendan, is a manipulator. Even after all this, she's still downplaying and trying to protect him. The fact that she reiterated a few times that his conflicting stories has made her feel crazy points to the fact that he's probably gaslighting her. Or she's part of the ruse. She could be part of the ruse. They were together the day before he left for Paradise. You know what it's like to go to Paradise? You're packing your bags. You're looking for chapstick. You're getting your Herpecil cream, whatever the hell you're doing before Paradise. You're getting that already the day before. It's kind of a big trip. You're going on a production. So chances are, if they're together the day before Paradise, they know what's going on. The whole idea, like, I didn't know if I'd see him. I didn't know if we'd still be together. No one buys that. Just nobody buys that. So when we talk about it, it's almost like I think everyone just wants them to fess up. People say just fess up. And if she's dead honest, telling the true side of the story, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to everybody. I wouldn't want her to fess up to something she didn't do, but I just think that's the easiest solution if that is the actual truth, which we probably will never know. I feel like we'd all respect them much more if they were like, yup, this is what we did. We played the game. We liked each other. We wanted to be on TV, rather than it was all a misunderstanding script. It wasn't ideal in terms of how it looked. And this kind of crap too, making it seem like they didn't do anything and just got a bad edit. So people have mentioned that she says she didn't watch the show like live right away, but then she also released a statement saying everything you see isn't exactly what went down. It's an edited show. So it's she's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, with people just not believing her. And if you don't have the credibility and believability, then whatever you say, it doesn't really matter. I've always been the one to say the more you do these long form podcasts, the better you come off. I don't know if we got that in this one. Let me know what you guys think. We'll make some more videos about this as the day goes on, but I wanted to get this first half of the interview up, and you can go watch the full thing there. Also, as I mentioned before, if you enjoy my channel, I would really, really appreciate it if you checked out my vlog channel. I'm going to be doing daily Christmas vlogs for Vlogmas this year. We're going to do a giant toy drive. It's going to be a fantastic holiday season. If you don't have any family to spend it with, come spend it with mine. It's going to be a great time. But if you want to see the weekend vlog of my trip to New York City, some live stand-up comedy on a rooftop in Brooklyn, East Village. Some of you Bachelor Nation came out to the shows and to some other stuff. You can go check that out. Plus a little check into, we went to the Revolve Fashion Week with my fiance Tasha. So I really would appreciate that. There'll be a link below. You can go check all that out. Let me know what you guys think. More info coming soon. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Bye, everybody.